today I have the beautiful Amy with me, don't I, Amy?
Oh, yes. Hello, beautiful Karen.
I expect you didn't think that you were coming on to do a video again, did you?
I wasn't sure.
Well,
Didn't.
well, maybe we sometimes do, but we haven't done one for a few weeks together, have we? And you've not
Yeah,
been very well, have you? So we're
right.
lucky to have Amy today.
Oh, thank you, Karen.
Yeah, we are. Looking at this, right? Totalitarianism. Germany, Italy, Japan, Spain, the Soviet Union. I told you there's Tekkas, whatever it is with the, with the big things out in the desert and all the weird buildings. There's loads of places. There's Syria. There's loads of places which still trade in totalitarianism today. Yes.
Yeah.
And if they've had it, they've got it. Because they don't give these things away. If you've got total power, are you going to give it away? So, we've just been watching quite a lot of the Russian video now, and Amy's looked it up on her phone too. So what do you make about all that, Amy, when all they've told us is how terrible it is in Russia?
Oh, I know. When I was in college, I took a course. This was during the Cold War, when we still were under the so-called Cold War, and the professor had been to they called it the Soviet Union then. He had been there many times, and he said it was really poor there, and the grocery stores were horrible, and everything, and you couldn't find fresh fruit and all kinds of things. And he said the cities were just, not in good shape and just wasn't a great place. But now, like, I watch videos of people in Siberia and Russia, and stuff looks good. Like, they have beautiful grocery stores and really nice roads and everything. So, and
It's
I
a bit
checked
like
some.
you can't read a book by its cover.
Yes.
My mum thinks that he's a dirty dog and he needs to go, and how terrible he is causing that war in Ukraine. How terrible!
Yeah, that's what so many people think. But like you said, they have no inheritance.
140 odd thousand people watched the video that we're going to watch a bit later on. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
140,000. Claudia says that times are changing and we're waking up. We need to wake up quicker.
Oh, that's for sure. Yes. But I mean, at least, in Russia, they're looking after the elderly. We're here in America, they're trying to get rid of everything that helps the elderly.
Well, you don't look. You have to pay for it all, don't you?
Right, but yes, we have to pay for all of the health care. You have to have insurance.
And we're going to get into that next. You are very upset with what's happening around jobs right now with your daughter's job, aren't you? So,
Yes.
it's not talking about people wiring like that in Russia.
That's right.
Yeah, should we just carry on and then we'll get to the bit and you can talk a little bit about things in a minute?
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Amy.
You're welcome, Karen. No way.
It's really horrible. I never grew up thinking that the government had total... well, I suppose it's on the television it becomes totalitarianism, doesn't it? If you don't take any notice of what's on the television and just get on with your life, it doesn't affect you quite the same. Even if they're doing all these things, you just won't take any notice of it.
Right.
But it is quite crazy because we're going to put on this little video of Russia, aren't we, Amy?
Yes, Karen.
And you can tell me what your thoughts are in a minute. Shall we play it?
Sure.
When you see here totalitarianism and the countries which have had it or have it, it's quite incredible. What it says is it's a dictatorship, fascism, tyranny, relating to a political system in which the government has complete control over the people. I saw this when I was making another video So this person says that Russia is beautiful. And then I decided to go on the internet and look a little bit more up, considering what it says. You know, if a country has totalitarianism, do you really think it changes? And I think that if Russia and all these other places have had it, we're all under the same thing. It's just they play us off against each other. That's what happens. When you look it up on the internet, so that one wasn't that good. But I carried on because I knew that I'd seen it. So there you go. There's another one. Wait till it stops. Is Russia a hard place to live? And quality of living that Russians can offer is pretty high. Many people live comfortably in Russia. The country is offering many basic guarantees to its citizens, like free medication, free education, including higher education for successful students. Denmark has that one. You know, there are certain people, including, say, my mum, who watches the BBC about what a dictatorship and what a terrible man he is, that she believes he's a dog and he needs to go. I just think they all need to go because they're all playing games, but according to Russia, they're quite happy. So it's just disgraceful, isn't it, really? The whole thing. In 2024, the average monthly salary in Russia was, and then we'll just carry on, because I can't do rubles, but they probably don't get paid quite as much, but they get a lot of things free. So, they're saying those are the best places to live, but it seems they're not really moaning about Russia, are they? Let's have a look here. There are 2 plans to retire. Among them, the government. Right, okay, we'll carry on. As I looked quite a lot up. Right, there we go, there's a good one. Does Russia take care of the elderly? Healthcare is provided for those of all ages, including older adults, through the health ministry. Wow, they get that without worrying. He doesn't go on about his health system, does he? That you think, oh, Russia's failing on its health system. They look after everyone. The Americans have to pay for everything, and they're starting to do that here in the UK. Let's carry on. So I just thought it was very interesting looking that up, to get free healthcare. So what's this one here? Let's just go back a tiny bit. Students in urban and suburban settings alike will experience a high quality of life for low cost rent. In most cities is in one bed with utility. Alright, okay, that's just saying the prices of there. How much is the internet? So you can pay for it, but somewhere down here there's a lot of free internet. Here we go. The state is obliged to give shelter. Oh, this is about people, sorry. This is another good one, but the internet comes up somewhere else on here. Today, no, the state is obliged to give permanent shelter for free to everyone who needs better living conditions or has no permanent registration. This is because the right to shelter is still included in the Constitution. Well, that sounds better than everywhere else, doesn't it? I wonder how many poor people there are in America. Living in tents, for instance. They go on and on about what a terrible place Russia is. Maybe that's because it's doing quite well. Let's go on a little bit. So, Russian authorities are offering to pay schoolgirls $1,200. Right, so they're actually paying people to have children because they don't think that the rate of children being born is enough. Okay. That's about the minimum wage, because I looked that up. They do have a minimum wage. There it is. Look at that. Just stop it there. Most places in Russia have Wi-Fi, so they have free Wi-Fi. Free Wi-Fi. And what's this one down here? The homeless people. One of Moscow's thousands of shelters. Oh, shelter. Well, anyway, that's saying something different. But anyway, Russia's education system is coordinated by the government, and state schools are free for everyone to attend. That said, the quality of education offered at Russian state schools can vary depending on the city and location, I suppose. But I'm not saying everything's perfect, but this is why they don't mind their life, because all the basic things are paid for. So the funds you pay entitle you to claim certain social welfare benefits, such as unemployment benefit, basic health care in Russia, maternity and child benefits, and Russian pension, although conditions apply. This guide explains Russian social security. But anyway, so there you go. They offer all the things that we do. And what were they? Totalitarianism. So there you go. Although Russia is the largest country, blah blah blah, its population relatively small in comparison to the physical area. Yes. So obviously it's about homeless people, and they provide things. Sounds like it's better than here, doesn't it? In America is officially free of charge. So you do pay income tax, but I think we all do, because that's how they gain extra money out of you for going to wars and things. But anyway, as you start putting questions in, more and more and more come up. But there you go. They get an ambulance service, which is included in what I've already said. But at least they get these things because, oh, he's such a horrible man, and it's such a terrible country, and it's a horrible place to live. But it seems that they have more than us. They take care of the elderly. And they're not complaining about it. There's not lots of extra things on there, is there? Oh yes, there's been no inheritance tax since 2006. So that's another tax they don't have to pay. I'd say things aren't that bad in Russia. They look better than everywhere else. They're paying less taxes. They're looked after better. There you go. You can go to university for free. We've got a little bit further to go. University's free, but they have that in Denmark. So this is what they're saying that they die of. Anyway, we're just carrying on. Russia is a safe country, so I suppose it depends which one you want to listen to, but they seem to me to have a lot more things going for them. They're looking after their people. You know, once they killed the president of Libya, I can't remember his name now, it'll probably come to me in a minute, but you find out he paid for the whole country. Looked after them just like Russia's doing here. You know, medication, education, housing, old people, etc., etc., benefit system. And it's completely different to what you think, because, oh yes, Russia is such a terrible, terrible place to live. Well, so far they don't have inheritance tax. Well, I think that's incredible. Anyway, we've come to the end now. Thank you very much for watching. So, what's your thoughts? So, Amy, we're going to watch this video talking about Trump. It says Trump faces extreme isolation as global allies turn away over tariff uncertainty. So what did you make of just a bit of that? Because you're going to say a bit more in a minute. What did you make about the tariff bit and all that?
Well, I think it's terrible that, he's putting these tariffs. There's no reason to do it. We have a good economy and everything, and we have a good amount of manufacturing already in this country. He talks about he wants to bring manufacturing back, and we already have everything we would ever need. So you can choose to buy American, or you can choose to buy from other countries.
Isn't that what happened with the 13 colonies and the Indian East Company? And then there was arguing, and then they stopped all this stuff going to America. Maybe the other way round. America will stop us having their goods.
Yes, but I mean, it's just really harming our relationships with the other countries.
But Trump doesn't care, except he can't wait to see Charles.
Pardon?
I said he can't wait to see. He's got no friends, but he can't wait to see Charles.
Oh yes, he's got his visit coming up, I guess.
But do you know what I reckon that is? Charles will hold his ear and say, "All right, just calm down now."
Yes, yeah.
And Amy, when you watch this video, because I know you will, just look at the cupboard behind her on like it's a bookcase. It's got that. You know when we see it, when it's a green screen thing going on.
Oh, yes.
You know when you see it. When you see it, because Amy hasn't seen this, she's just listening. But when you see it, put a comment in. But we're going to carry on now, because you're disgusted with all this.
Yes, and it's going to harm prices here are going to go up, because that's what happens when you put tariffs. The tariff falls into the consumer, so it's going to make things worse for our economy here.
Claudio reckons that if we understand that everybody's going to go through this, that in the end they will turn to love, because it's going to happen to everyone with ISIS and all that. Yeah. So at the moment I don't see them being like that. I mean, we already know that it's one system, and the wrath of China, the wrath of America.
Yes.
They all have eagles.
That's right.
They're little Romans.
Yep. That's right.
But shall we go on to the next bit, because this is when you can moan about Trump.
Okay.
Okay, Amy, we will move on.
This kind of policy of extreme isolationism that Trump is trying to follow, it can only drive its friends and allies away. He's been made it very clear that he doesn't really have any belief that he has friends, and he doesn't care if countries are supposed to be his allies. So I think that is an inevitable consequence of all of this. And of course, the global world order is going to change. Half of the global growth last year came from the US and China, and when they have a fight, the rest of us suffer. But maybe this is what the world needs.
So Donald Trump did U-turn, but if you look, you can see him giving you the finger as he drives away at 100 miles an hour. Peter, has Trump won? Is Trump winning, do you think?
No. I mean, spare a thought for the poor guys on logistics at every single port in the United States. And every single, not just every day, but, every half day, you're getting different tariffs you're supposed to be charging. So it's sort of a container full of goods that you're unloading. It's changing how much you take at any single moment. And so I think it's brave for Trump and his White House to dress this up as a sort of genius master plan. The big problem with everybody is about volatility. That's same with friends, same with businesses, same with governments. If people keep changing their mind, and the problem that Trump is, because he's done this over the course of the last 7 or 8 weeks, in particular the last week, is that you don't know whether you're standing on rocks or on sand, and on balance. The problem is when you learn that, and you learn that the person you're doing a deal with can react like that. It also means that all of those negotiators, all the people who are coming to kiss his backside, as you call it, Stig, I think his word was ass, means that whatever agreement you get signed with Trump in due course, assuming that happens, it's only as good as the page that's signed that day. And that was the experience of Trump presidency part one, particularly with China. The trade war that kicked off then was important and significant. It was a precursor to this one. the problem for the Chinese side was not that Trump was asking for too much, or that these were problems that couldn't be solved, or what levels of tariffs should be applied, or which areas should be protected. It's that if you made an agreement with him, he might change his mind. And I think that is the single.
I have to say, not only is that woman's shelf funny, this guy here, I wonder if I can. Well, what it is he's probably nearly 50 or whatever, but those lines on his head are not real. Oh, it's so annoying. I'm going to have to go in and have a look just for a moment, even though... Oh, my phone's... What's happening? How long have we got? 14%. Hang on a second. I'm just going to get my charger. Well, I'm pretty sure that it's a different way as it is. I think we're all in under the same system. You've got these people moaning and groaning about things, which Amy's going to add a bit in just a little bit. But when I look at the frowns on his head and this bit here, do you see he's got a bit of head behind his frown? And I just look at that. That is not real. They have been added to make it more dramatic. And at full speed, people don't see it. But that is not real. It's not real. It's not real. Amy, it's not real. You'll see it. Oh, it's disgusting. Anyway, we're just zooming out of him. It's not real. But anyway, he's talking, and now Amy. So Amy, you're upset with things. They're moaning about Trump.
Yes.
He's got no friends except Charles.
Yeah.
Well, is Charles a friend, or has he been summoned to the Buckingham Palace?
Oh, maybe so.
But what? So also not only is it that it's hitting this, which is what they're talking about, the tariffs on the ports and things, but
Yeah.
you're also going through something with your daughter, aren't you?
Yes, because she is a federal worker, and a huge part of his agenda is to get rid of federal workers. He's gone and cut whole
Amy, don't you think that's really weird that they've spent all those years building up the federal workers to get rid of the federal workers?
Yes, it used to be you had a federal
Come
job.
this way, work for the Federation, be a federal worker. Oh, now we're axing you.
Yeah.
How long has she worked there?
She's worked there 10 years.
Wow. Surely
My dad worked,
she would get some redundancy for that, wouldn't she?
hopefully, but what they're doing is just getting rid of their jobs, saying that they're not necessary and that they're eliminating them. And it's been nothing but tension since he was inaugurated and started signing his executive orders. But they thought that their department was safe, but they just found out a few days ago that it's not safe. And so she feels that it's going to be eliminated.
But they do want to frighten everybody, don't they?
Yes.
I don't want to say very much because I could say, look, it's just part of the game. But if it did happen to her, I'd be very upset for you. So I don't want to. But it's usually a game, isn't it?
Yeah. But it's going to impact the people as well, because the program she works for is a very important one in our country, that it's going to make people suffer. So it's not just the workers, it's going to impact the people themselves. Because
why? I just don't understand. But here we've had things like banks, all the banks have gone. Everything's sort of changing here as well. Like, you feel very taxed. Well, I feel very taxed.
Yes, definitely.
You know, there's basically millions of us on minimum wage. How the hell can we afford their taxes? And then you think, God, it's almost like, well, Claudio will say that we need to save ourselves, but there's no like Robin Hood saving us, because they're like Nottingham Forest, Nottingham, the baddies in Nottingham taking our taxes in, Robin Hood.
It's the rich stealing from the poor.
It's still in the same place like Robin Hood.
Yeah.
Oh, look at his name. I never thought about that. Robin Hood. Robin Hood. Robin Hood. I never... Yeah, it's robbing the hood.
I never thought of that either. But
no, I didn't either. It just came to me, Amy. But anyway, I know that you're worried, your daughter's worried, but this is what they want, isn't it? And so Trump, all he's... So I said this before. Do you remember, like, when he got in before, one of the first things he did was do the Indians and the water and the land. And I was thinking, wouldn't that have been something you'd have done maybe 6 months in? Not like the first day you're in power. That's it. Take their land, cut the water. And it's like, I was so happy he won the first time. You know, this is years ago now, isn't it? And then the first day he came in, I thought, he's not come to change anything. He wouldn't do that to the Indians if he was a real man. And what it is he probably did a lot of these things last time, but maybe the world is slowly changing into love, Amy. And then Trump's the odd one out because he's the dictator.
Well, he said he wanted to be a dictator.
So what does dictator fit into? Totalitarianism.
Yes. And he wants us to go back to how it was in the 1890s. He said that America
Oh
was
my God, the next thing is it'll all be Mormons.
He said we were the richest between 1890 and 1913.
Yes, that's when Tartaria supposedly was here.
Yes, exactly. He wants to get us back to that. But everybody else is not going to be rich. Only the billionaires are going to get richer.
Well, then that's totalitarianism all over again, isn't it?
Totalitarianism, yes, it is.
Do you think we've said enough there, Amy?
Oh, I think so, Karen.
Okay, we're going to say something at the end.
Okay.
Problem of the last week, it's like a reed blowing in the wind.
Jenny, what do you make of it? China versus America. There's a danger that everyone loses from that, but there's also a danger that Trump drives the rest of the world closer to China. And China, of course, are this economic imperialistic power. They like to wield influence in other countries. I wonder whether Trump might be actually driving them in a direction they kind of want to go.
Well, I mean, this kind of policy of extreme isolationism that Trump is, that Trump is trying to follow, it can only drive its friends and allies away. He's been made it very clear that he doesn't really have any belief that he has friends, and he doesn't care if countries are supposed to be his allies. So I think that is an inevitable consequence of all of this. And of course, the global world order is going to change. Half of the global growth last year came from the US and China. And when they have a fight, the rest of us suffer. But maybe this is what the world needs. Rely on the US when they're being led by somebody so capricious, so willing to bully other countries into submission, so difficult to navigate. Maybe this was the only thing that was going to get us to wake up and move on. I'm
struck, though, Joe, that you say that. I think it's really interesting. And lots of people say that. But whenever we speak to anyone close to power, they all say, no, special relationship, closest ally, we can't function without them. It's very striking, but Donald Trump seems to be doing literally everything he can to push us away. And a bit like a beaten dog, we're kind of forced to follow him, our sort of tail trailing in the dirt. But that feels like anyone close to power thinks we can't live without America.
And isn't that crazy? Because I think, it's more elusive than finding the Higgs boson. A discovery of a benefit of Brexit is that we are independent. We can make our own choices now about who we want to be friends with and who we want to strike deals with, whether or not we want to move towards India and China, which we probably don't. But, we have those choices now. Even though we have that freedom, I think we don't believe in ourselves. And we still think our greatest strength comes from our friendship with the US when we have somebody who is repeatedly telling us he has no friends.
Peter, is that right? Because do you think we have to, the realpolitik here is we have to just swallow this and we can't live without America?
Well, I think it's interesting. We talk about that special relationship here in the UK a lot. That's not how Americans see the UK. It means we're best friends forever from London's point of view. But remember that we burnt all of our neighbourhood down by telling our closest trading partners that we could work it out without them. So there's a similarity in that. I mean, I think that Jenny is exactly right, that when you go and torch Mexico and Canada, your two only land borders that you have, and you start calling Canada the 51st state, and you threaten to use force against Canada, and you threaten to use force against Greenland, it could all be a sort of funny joke, but Americans don't do sarcasm. That's a very British thing. You're talking about how people tease each other. That's the best thing we do here in the UK, is our sense of humour, that we're able to sort of tease each other. I think that it's not just about pushing people towards China. It's about, is the United States a reliable partner, and one that you can that will lead. And what leaders do in any context, any periods of history, is that they share the burden with others. They take on responsibilities for those who can't, or have to have a bit of help. And the United States has done that fairly well since the end of the Second War. In fact, even in the Second World War, in the First World War too. I think the poise that Trump has now has been about Republicans drinking the Kool-Aid, the belief the United States can cope without the rest of the world. And just as a couple of examples, I wrote something yesterday about how trainers are going to go under the tariffs that have now been paused. We're going to go from $150 to $230. So that means that if you want to go for a run, that becomes something that only richer people can do. So then general health in the United States gets worse. These kind of unintended consequences of an unreliable friend. And, I think it's shocked all of us, because America, United States, is a fantastically vibrant, wonderful country with soft and hard power that everybody wants to be their friends. But Trump has done everything he can to try to force everybody to reevaluate. And that's not the smartest diplomatic or political policy to adopt.
Jenny, we've talked a lot there about Donald Trump and maybe a bit about his motivation. But the other question here that this all throws up is about Xi Jinping in China, about what China's motivation is, and about whether actually that is a country that is now seeking closer economic ties with nations like the UK. What do you think Keir Starmer ought to do at this point?
I think right now he should probably back away for the moment and let the two of them, let Xi Jinping and Donald Trump, battle this out in the short term. I think what we need to remember about China is that, this has become political and personal for the Chinese. This is not about markets and trade deficits. This is about not being willing to be seen to be giving in to bullies. That's what they've explicitly said. That's what Beijing has explicitly said. And China, in Chinese culture, losing face is unconscionable. And so in order for there to be any solution to all of this, China needs to be given a way to appear to have won, to have not given in to bullies. So, I think I don't think that we have very much influence in all of this, I have to say. But I think that when we do talk to China, it is important to do so in a way that recognises that they do not wish to be seen to be brutalised or capitulating to bullies.
Peter, you can give us a bit of a long-term view here, because we've talked a bit about how under David Cameron as Prime Minister there was a real push to forge those closer links with China, economic ties, lots of kind of visits between the two. Since then, we've had this question about whether China should be designated as a threat, and now we're back to exploring economic opportunities. With a kind of long view of this, where do you think the UK's relationship with China goes now?
China's quite a long way away from us. It doesn't appear to me to pose a specific and direct military threat to us like Russia does. China has got lots of issues that we need to be careful of, particularly when it comes to national security. But there are lots of things that don't seem to me to be particularly threatening. For example, about laptop assemblies and iPhones. So what you need is a government policy that is discreet. What I mean discreet, I mean that is specific. That there are key areas where you can work and collaborate, and then there are clear red lines. And I think that was the problem about the kind of new golden age that Cameron's government supposedly ushered in, because it was kind of everybody is great and everything is great, rather than look, here are the things that we can work together, and here's where we can't. I mean, for what it's worth, I do a lot on China and its sort of strategic thinking around the United States. So that what Trump's White House looks like from Beijing's point of view is the fulfillment of Marxist, Leninist, and also Chinese interpretations of the United States, which is that the United States is decadent, that the United States is surrounded by, as a president, surrounded by business interests and oligarchs, and that China will try to stand firm in front of all of that. China is convinced that the United States is set out to destroy China, or certainly to stop its rise economically, and will do anything it can to kneecap China. So, it's not a surprise, perhaps this morning, that Chinese Foreign Ministry has put out old videos of Mao Zedong saying, we will never surrender and we'll fight till the end. And China keeps on saying, we will take the pain if we need to because we're here for the long run. And Trump, in 3 or 4 years' time, might be replaced by somebody different. So, I think that there are two different worldviews that are emerging. One of you can force your allies into a corner and you can get your own way, might is right, and then play.
Well, it seems to me, Amy, that a little while ago we were looking at Putin and they were saying that he was a tyrant and a dictator, and then and now the same thing's happening with Trump.
Oh, yes, it is. He's definitely like a dictator. I mean, he doesn't use
Do you
Congress
feel that
like he's
people
supposed
don't
to.
like? Because I do see sometimes there's these rallies against him,
Yeah,
but
that's
you don't
right.
really hear that much about it. Like, when they're rioting in France quite regularly, we don't really hear that. They might play it once, say, every 4 months, but it's happening like every day, and they don't really play very much.
Yeah.
And you don't forget, France aren't very happy with things. That's France, isn't it? France. They're not happy with the president and prime minister. They sacked the prime. It's all a bit weird, that. And then he's supposed to be married to a man. And then you've got Australia's not. I just don't think anybody's happy. Australia aren't happy. Harry says it's quite, it's quite stressful when you listen to what's going on there. If you listen to the news.
Yeah.
It's very stressful in America. It's very stressful in England. It's really nice in Russia.
Yeah. Oh, I know. It's nothing is ever what you think it is, or what they tell us it is.
I know, but you know what? If you were going to have a fair society, YouTube and the rest would get rid of AI, but they promote AI.
That's true.
So they
That's
only want
true.
to promote the lies. Everybody does. Through AI. That's what happens, isn't it? Remember Mr. Fryve and what's the name? With his house, a bit like that girl's shells. If you're gonna lie, tell people do you like my picture? It's not real,
Yeah.
but I'm putting it up. Why not tell people?
Exactly.
People believe things they see.
That's right.
But it's a bit weird that so much, it's almost like he is a tornado or something.
Oh, I know.
The thing is, he did it before, and I did tell you before he came in that you will wish you never had him in. And he's just come to deliver stuff that you won't like. Do you remember before he was voted in, I said that?
I remember. You were spot on with that.
I have got a good video about him. It looks like his eyebrows are tattooed on. Yeah, I think it was on a video the other day, actually, or I might not have put it out yet. And there's a really weird bit with this woman as she's turning around. Well, I just don't see these things as real. And then they're talking about the might of China and the might of, you don't want to upset America and all that. And it's just like, what do they want us? Terrified?
Yes, it seems that way.
Feel love, everybody. Feel love. Just turn the television off. Turn it off, Amy. Don't watch it.
I don't.
You have to, because it is if you do watch it, I'm never worried about what I think. I think, oh my God, the people are going to think this now.
That's right.
That's what I don't like, because people, what it is, I think on some people, they cannot believe you because they can't believe their government would do that to them.
Exactly.
But they do.
That's right.
Or Claudia would say, we let them, because we are responsible for ourselves.
That's true too.
But well, anyway, do you think? Well, anyway, you can have the last word.
Oh, well, I just don't know what's going to happen, but it's very upsetting to see everything. He's just coming like a wrecking ball, destroying everything here in America and wrecking our relationship with other countries. And it's really quite a horror.
And do you know what? When he was like before he came in, well, what it is this is what I don't think people realise in America. When they show you the news, you might just see him going, "Well, let's make America great again." But if you actually watched what he said, he talked a load of rubbish for maybe an hour, and then I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, And then do you remember all the videos, all those speeches you made about all the things he was going to do? And we made that video, and I said, if you didn't know better, I'd want to give him a clap because I want him to come in. But I knew that that was all talk because he hasn't done any of the things he said leading up to it, which everybody thought, oh, he's our saviour. Look, he's going to do all this. The bit about getting rid of the jokers and the actors, he's actually going to be doing it to the people and not really getting rid of the actors or the jokers.
Exactly. That's right. Well said.
Yeah. So, Amy, anyway, you finish, Amy.
Oh, well, yeah, it's just, it's weird to think that things could be better in Russia than they are in our own respective countries, but they never really tell us the truth about anything anyway. But I have never experienced a president like this one, and I just call it his regime. I don't say it's an administration. I say it's a regime. And, I wish there was a way we could either impeach him or just.
You can't impeach him. He's been impeached twice. You can't do it now. He's beaten it. Or he's got one, and now you can't impeach him. But again, you know, they did things in 9/11. There was a law. Oh gosh, I can't remember what it was now. The Patriot Act.
The Patriot Act.
And then that said you can't blame the government of the day for any atrocities they do. And we got one practically the same.
Really?
So it means that they could do what they like. Don't you think that that is like basically totalitarianism?
Most definitely, yes.
Yeah, but anyway, I thought it was a little bit interesting just listening to how they were explaining that Trump was all on his own, but he's got his little pass to Charles, so he's still in.
That's right.
But you know, I did play that video. Do you remember? It took me ages to find that with King Arthur. The really weird thing is that now I see things differently because what it is Mab is more pagan and she's the old ways, but basically Arthur and Merlin are there, but they're Christians, and they couldn't have been. They would have been pagans. So basically, they're Christians and they're turning their back on the old ways. But she was evil, Mab, in the program. So they basically turn their back and walk away, and she's going, Merlin, Merlin. Do you remember I played it to you?
Yes.
That's the kind of thing we have to do. We just turn our backs.
Exactly. That's exactly.
There's no blue. There's no red. There's no Liberal, Labour, Conservative, whatever. Republic. What's the other one? Democrat. It's all one thing, and above them is someone else is running them.
That's right. Yep, definitely.
And we're the little pawns they play with.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe it's like in the Second World War, Amy. You know when they had the tables and they had the little sticks and they're going, right, the Germans have pushed forward here, and the English or the Americans have pushed forward there, and they're pushing the little soldiers and tanks across. That's maybe what they're doing to us, right? We've put that in place. We've done that.
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
But I think a lot of people put this on and just, I suppose, until you wake up, you don't wake up. But let's just hope people wake up quite quickly, because nothing looks very certain, and they can make anywhere war. You can be in any country. It doesn't matter. Right. They don't care, do they?
No, they don't.
No. But anyway, so thumbs down for you on Trump. I just wish they would go through the back door and never come back.
Oh, same here.
Leave us alone to live our own lives in harmony, yeah.
Exactly.
Without, with more traditional, different, maybe sort of remedies and herbal things, and that we can do it the way we want, whether you want to go pharmaceutical or you don't. It's up to us.
That's right.
Yeah, but that doesn't look like it on here. Not USA, not UK, not Russia.
No,
because it's all totalitarianism, which means the government. I mean, I did that video about the monarchy. Remember, you need a king and a parliament to make a monarchy.
Oh, yeah.
So they say that Charles doesn't have anything to do with it. He does. He opens it for a start.
Right.
And I just, yeah, it's all about them running us.
Yeah.
And I mean, what a name, monarchy. Just,
Yes. Like,
yeah.
I guess. Mono is one. But here now it seems like it wants to be an oligarchy where it will be the reign of just a few rich people.
Hasn't it always been that way, though, really? But someone's getting richer because they give NASA $53 million a day. I mean, what the hell are they doing with that? No one batters an eyelid or says, do you think we should not be paying that much money? Have we really ever been to the moon? And aren't rockets a bit old these days, considering technology has moved on so much?
Exactly.
And when you watch NASA rockets go up, they glow red and then they usually blow up, or just watch the arc on the still pictures. It goes over and it goes down. It never goes up there because there isn't anything to go up to.
That's right. And then that makes me think of how when they're dismantling all these agencies that are set up to help
Yes,
people.
but I said this to you. Listen, Amy, how do we really make money? Most people are working for the people. You've got doctors, schools, ambulance, hospitals, shops. There's a lot of things going on here that are for the people.
Right. But they're calling it waste, fraud, and abuse. That's their little tagline. Well, what is NASA then? You know, they're accusing these legitimate agencies of waste, fraud, and abuse.
Yes.
All of this fraud that they supposedly found, they haven't prosecuted anybody. They haven't taken it to the Department of Justice.
No, and beforehand, Hillary needed to go to court as well with and she protected her husband who lied under oath, and she lied for him. And then she was up for president. You think, what the hell? Oh, yes, and don't forget, Trump was into WWF.
Exactly.
Then it was, you're fired.
Yes, his TV show, The Apprentice.
Well, every video I look at, there's something wrong in it, so there you go.
That's right.
But anyway, we have gone on for 12 minutes. Come on, Amy, you're the last word.
Oh, well, thank you for making this, Karen. And
did you get your frustrations out a bit about your daughter? Because Amy's quite annoyed, aren't you?
Yes. And, yeah, thanks for seeing the videos, or, you know, the ones about Russia and Trump, and keeping us all enlightened by everything, because we want to know,
we only want the truth, but we never seem to get it. But you find bits here and there. But I only saw that on the internet because I was actually looking something else up, and then it came up. It's quite nice living in Russia, and I thought, really? I'm not saying they all say that, but most of them say it's quite nice being in Russia. They pay for everything, but again, I told you what that is, totalitarianism. And don't forget, when we watched that horrible, it was when Charles was talking at the One World Order, but a few years ago, and it was said in that military thing, and they were going to do it this way, and it was all going to be like military style. This is what they're doing. They told you they were going to do it, and they're doing it. Charles was head of that.
That's true.
Yes, the Emperor Charles.
Exactly.
Yes. Anyway, we better finish, Amy, because we'll go on forever.
Okay.
But thank you for your input. That just as well, we've just got to turn our backs on them.
Exactly.
As much as possible.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, I love you, Amy. Thank you for helping.
I love you too, beautiful Karen, and you're very welcome.
Yeah, thank you, my darling.
Thank you.